Good afternoon, class. Hopefully this finds you well. Currently we're having a rainy day here. You might see kids running in and out. They're going to be outside in spite of it, I think, today. For this week, we are going to be writing on lesson 26, and we're going to be expanding on the formal critique. So let's review. What is a formal critique? What do you need when you write a formal critique? A formal critique, apparently I can't say that word today. A critique is the most important aspects or elements of a story. They're briefly explained and briefly summarized. So this is brief. A brief summary. Just the details that are needed. You're not retelling the story. You're just giving a brief summary of the story. And who remembers what model did we learn to use when writing a formal critique? It is the story sequence chart. What aspects do we not need to include in our story sequence chart? The first one is the characters, the setting. Who's in this story? Not all of the characters, just the most important characters and the setting. Where is it occurring? Remember, we talked a little bit about Cinderella, the story of Cinderella. The most important characters would be Cinderella, the stepsisters, the stepmother, the prince. The setting took place in a couple of places. Her home, the attic, where they had the ball. Then you want to do what's next. After the characters in the setting, what do you have? In your story sequence chart, next would be the conflict or the problem. We want to introduce, what is the conflict? What is the problem? In Cinderella, the conflict is, will she escape the evil stepmother and the evil stepsisters? Will the prince find her? That's the conflict. Then you want to state the climax and the resolution. The climax is the height of that anticipation. What's going to happen? What will happen? And how does it get resolved? We're going to be writing a response to literature. We will be writing the first paragraph using the story sequence chart. So as you go to read your source text, which is called The Conversion of Saul, on page 228, keep in mind your story sequence chart. We're going to be writing 4 paragraphs this week. We have our introduction, our story summary, analysis of the topic, and our conclusion. But we're only really writing 2 paragraphs. And then our conclusion, then our intro. So remember, we start with the inside out. First, we're going to start with our story summary, which we're using the story sequence chart for that. So I want you having that in your mind as you read your text this week. Be mindful of, I'm first going to have 1 paragraph that's going to tell the story, a summary, which means sum, it's brief, using the story sequence chart. So as you read through, be mindful. What are the characters? What are the setting? What's the conflict? What's the problem? What's the climax? What's the resolution? That all needs to be brief and be stated in 1 paragraph.